friends. Welcome to Sky House Herbs podcast. I'm Ashley Elenbaas, a clinical herbalist, and in this space, I share my knowledge and experience with plant medicine to help you on your own journey of healing and transformation. Join me in exploring the ancient wisdom of plant spirit medicine and how it can be used to heal the body, mind, and spirit. We'll talk to experts in the field and share stories from people who've been transformed by powerful plant allies. New episodes are released each Monday, so please subscribe. And now, let's explore this mystical world of plant medicine together. Hey everyone, welcome in. Today we're going to be talking about hair loss and hair thinning. This is something that I've personally struggled with over the years through pregnancy, stress hair loss, through thyroid fluctuations, and I'm really happy to share some of my personal secrets with you and also what science has to say about the ways we can really support and strengthen our hair. Before we go into today's content, please take a moment to click the subscribe button. Also be sure to click notifications and click all notifications. For those of you interested in deepening your herbal studies beyond just things like this, I do offer a year 1 and a year 2 herbal apprenticeship, and I'll include links below where you can learn more. Okay, let's talk about it. Herbs for hair loss and what can we do? I want to start by talking about what causes hair loss. What are some of the common reasons why we have hair thinning and we have hair breakage and we tend to lose our hair, especially around the temples and sometimes even in the back of our head? Well, some of the reasons can be genetic, and today's talk isn't about hereditary hair loss. That is something that is really difficult to treat with just nutrition and herbs. However, there are a lot of things we can do, especially for hair loss patterns that are associated with stress, because we know that cortisol, which is one of the hormones created in our bodies to help us respond to stress, can cause hair thinning and hair loss and what we call stress shedding. So if you've been through a period of high stress in your life and you've noticed that lots and clumps of hair are falling out and you're noticing thinning in your hair, that is very normal during stressful times. Another reason we may experience hair loss is because of hormone fluctuations, and especially for women, if we have increases of estrogen and decreases of progesterone. This can also be true in men. So men can have thinning of their hair and balding patterns due to excess estrogens in their body. So this is where diet, lifestyle can be a huge part of helping you keep estrogen levels low. Another often underappreciated cause of hair loss and hair thinning is low iron or anemia. This is especially common in women who have very heavy bleeding cycles. And when you're losing a lot of blood through menstrual flow, then you have lower iron stores in your body. This can cause the growth pattern of your hair to get disrupted, and you'll notice that you'll have periods where your hair gets thicker and then thinner. This can be directly related to our blood iron levels. Another way that we can get anemic is if we have low hydrochloric acid in our stomach. And this is probably another one of those that what? Our stomach acid has something to do with anemia? But yes, if we have low stomach acid, this can also cause us to have less blood available and lower iron levels. Some little things we can do to help our hydrochloric acid stay balanced in our stomach is to create lots of space in between meals. This means no snacking. Drinking a little bit of lemon water or lemon and cayenne in the morning can also help boost hydrochloric acid production. It's an interesting thing, but a lot of people think if they have reflux, it's because they have too much hydrochloric acid, but it's usually the opposite. Usually it's that you don't have enough, and so your food isn't breaking down, and that can actually cause the reflux. Finding ways to increase hydrochloric acid production, lemon water, a little bit of apple cider vinegar can be ways to help. One of the things we can do is get our bodies to properly detoxify. And I'll share with you some herbs that are really good at helping your body break things down and help your liver to move out toxins, because estrogen isn't a toxin on its own, but when it's out of balance, it has a whole cascade effect. I want to go right into what we can do. What are the things that we can do to help support our scalp and to help support hair regrowth? I want to start with something you can do weekly, then something you can do a few times a week, and then things that we should be doing daily. To start, once a week, we should be doing some sort of scalp treatment. And here are a few suggestions. I suggest using a thick oil base, I personally really like olive oil. I think olive oil is so good and nourishing for the skin, and it's also not too heavy like castor oil. You could also use coconut oil or even jojoba oil. I really like olive oil as well because it's less expensive than a lot of other oils, and that way you can ensure that you can use it once a week. What you'll want to do is infuse your olive oil with rosemary. And rosemary can be bought at your local herb shop. You can even grow it and dry it, but it needs to be whole leaves, like those little tiny dried leaves of rosemary. And you'll just take those dried leaves, mash them up really good so you can start to smell the oils, and put that into any oil, your olive oil, your jojoba oil, and put that into a glass jar and then set that in a warm water bath and let that steep for maybe 12 to 24 hours. Personally, I like to use a crock pot. So I'll fill my crock pot with water. I'll take my glass mason jar with my herbs and my oil, and I'll let it sit in that warm water bath on low for, 12 to 24 hours. That amount of time will really allow the heat to penetrate into the oil to extract the rosemary essential oils out, and then you'll get a very rich, nourishing oil. If you can't get your hands on rosemary dried leaves, you can use rosemary essential oil. It's not my favorite, but it will work as an alternative. And you can add about maybe 5 drops of rosemary essential oil per half cup of your base oil. If you've made the infused oil yourself, you'll want to strain it before you apply it to your head, and just, fill your palm with the oil. Warm is even better, and rub it in your hands and massage it into your scalp and really get it in there. And the massaging also helps to stimulate the follicles of the hair to grow. It also helps to thicken the cuticles of the hair. So the oil itself is a nourishing food for the scalp and for the hair. And then that rosemary is a great circulatory stimulant, and it really activates those hair follicles to start growing a little faster, and even to allow any dead follicles to shed and then to allow new ones to form. If you do that once a week, that's so good for your scalp. And just know that you'll have to probably shampoo your hair a few times to get all of that oil out so that your hair isn't looking greasy the next day. The next thing you can do for hair thickening and for hair regrowth is to make a tea that you'll put as a hair rinse and use maybe every other day or 3 to 4 times a week. The 2 herbs I recommend for this are rosemary and hibiscus. If you have those rosemary dried leaves, brew yourself a hot tea. Just maybe take 2 cups of water and a tablespoon of dried rosemary leaves. Let that steep for about 20 minutes, strain it, and then just pour that over your scalp as a rinse. You can make enough for maybe 2 to 3 days and keep it in your fridge, but I will tell you, the cold tea is not as nice on your scalp as the warm tea. You can do the same thing with hibiscus. Hibiscus is a wonderful herb for hair regrowth. It is really, really high in amino acids, and specific amino acids that increase the production of keratin, which is what makes our hair thicker and makes our follicles stay longer in the scalp. These amino acids found in hibiscus also help to stimulate new hair growth, and the antioxidants found in that red pigment also help reduce hair thinning and improve the overall health of the scalp. To make a tea with the hibiscus, you can take 3 to 4 dried flowers or even use tea bags and brew the same thing, about 2 cups of hot water and tea bags. Let that steep for about 20 minutes. It'll be bright red, so just know that, but don't worry, it won't stain your hair. And then pour that over the scalp. Let it sit in your hair for about 10 minutes before you rinse it out. If you can do that every other day or 3 to 4 times a week, you will notice improvements in your scalp and in your hair. And then the last thing is something that you can do daily, and this would be an overnight nettles infusion. And I love stingy nettles. They're one of my favorite herbs for just about everything. They are nutritive, they are tonic, they are detoxifying, and what is really good for the hair is that they're very high in minerals like silica, calcium, magnesium, and they really help to strengthen and give your body the building blocks that your body needs to build strong hair, teeth, and nails. But it also is very high in chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is basically an oxygen-rich source that feeds our blood and is so good for stimulating regrowth and new hair growth. Chlorophyll also is a strong antioxidant, so that can help with oxidative stress and damage to the scalp and to the hair follicles. It reduces inflammation. Chlorophyll increases red blood cell production. And when I talked earlier about excess hormones in the body and excess cortisol, a wonderful thing about Nettles is that it is very detoxifying. So it's going to help your body break down those excess hormones and move them out through the bowels, through the urine, through the sweat, and through the kidneys. To make an overnight Nettles infusion, take a quart-sized jar. This holds about 4 cups of water. Put about half a cup of dried nettle leaf. Pour your hot water over the top. Fill that quart jar, cap it, and let it sit overnight. That's why it's called an overnight infusion. You want it to steep for 8 to 12 hours, then strain it out the next day. Drink that entire quart every single day, and you will find that your body will have energy, more stamina, and your skin, hair, and nails will all benefit from the minerals and the vitamins that it contains. Now, I would be negligent if I didn't talk about these other very important daily tips if you want to have thick, healthy, and full hair. The first one is that we have to exercise. If we want to increase hair growth, if we want to increase the health of our scalp, we have to bring fresh blood flow up to the head. And really the only way to do that is through vigorous cardiovascular exercise. This means we need to elevate our heart rate through cardiovascular activity, maybe a HIIT workout, maybe a brisk walk, or something that's going to elevate your heart rate, get you sweating, and bring blood flow to the head and scalp. Our bodies need this for every single process, but especially if we want our hair to improve, we have to bring blood flow there. The second essential daily thing is we have to be hydrated. Our body is made out of mostly water, and in order to detoxify, we need to have enough water in our system to be able to clear and move things that our body no longer needs out. We also need to have proper hydration for the scalp itself and for all of the tissues and skin of the body so that it can produce and can be fed and hydrated. The third absolutely essential thing is nutrition. If we don't have nutrition, if we don't have good vitamins and minerals in our fluids in our blood, then it's not going to get to the scalp. And our scalp, no matter how much nettles or how much rosemary or hibiscus we use, if we don't have the building blocks for good hair growth through our food, then nothing else is going to work. Absolutely number one is protein. We need to have good sources of clean protein in our diet so that we can actually have the building blocks or amino acids to build our hair. This includes things like clean and lean proteins, maybe chicken, beans, nuts are a good source of protein. We also need good quality fats in our diet. Fish oils are a wonderful way to really nourish the scalp. We know that omega-3 fatty acids improve circulation of the scalp. They create a healthy scalp tissue for the regrowth of hair. And a 2015 study of women with early stages of hair loss found that through supplementation of omega-3s and 6s, that they had an increase in their hair density and an increase in hair regrowth. Having adequate amounts of omega-3s in our diet produce a very healthy, stable environment in our hair follicles during that proliferative or that beginning growth stage of the hair follicles called the anagen stage or phase of hair growth. Of course, it goes without saying, we need to also have good amounts of fiber, which help the body bind toxins and move them out through the colon. We need to have a good supply of fresh vegetables and fresh fruit that have a variety of colors in them. And all of those together will also support the base of what our body needs nutritionally for healthy hair. The last daily thing that is crucial for your hair is sleep. And I know that might sound like, well, how is sleep related to hair growth? We know that getting 8+ hours of sleep is absolutely essential for the repair phase of our bodies. And that also includes our scalp. And hair follicle growth is dependent upon our ability to reduce cortisol levels, which happens when we get good rest, and also that repair phase that happens when we get deep sleep. Deep sleep also supports our overall hormone levels and hormone production in the body, not just keeping cortisol levels down, but also keeping progesterone levels up, and in men, testosterone levels up. And this is absolutely essential if we want to have healthy hair. We also know that sleep is essential for increasing circulation, and our bodies have these deep circulatory cycles while we sleep. If you don't get 8 hours of sleep per night, you can slowly build into this and try just increasing by 20-minute increments, getting to bed a little earlier every night. Make sure that your sleeping environment is adequate, that you've got dim lights, maybe an open window with some fresh, cool air coming in, that you have natural fiber sheets that are very comfortable for you to sleep in. A few other aside tips that I think are absolutely essential. The first one is not washing it every day. And you might notice even in my videos, my hair changes because of where I am in my wash cycles. I typically wash my hair every 3 to 4 days. And so then in between, I use dry shampoo. And so I have 2 brands that I wanted to share with you. This one was recommended by my friend Gad, who is a professional hairstylist. And these are both very natural, and they're non-aerosol, which I like. So they're not bad for the ozone. This one you squeeze and you can see the powder comes out. And then this one is just a pump. Okay. I'll include links to both of these. I believe you can buy them both on Amazon and probably also where you buy your beauty supplies. This one I believe is French. It's Laboratorius Chlorane. So I'll include, I know it's kind of difficult to see with the glare, but I will include a link. What I like about this one is this one has its main ingredient is rice starch, and then it has oat starch, oat kernel flour, and it has just a tiny bit of fragrance, but it's very, very subtle. And then this one, which is Day, D-A-E, and this one's called Day Fairy Duster Dry Shampoo. Let's see if I can show you this one. This is a pump rather than a squeeze. This one has cornstarch as its main ingredient. It has orange peel oil. It has a little bit of quartz in it. I guess that gives the scalp a little bit of a shine and some extra minerals. It has yucca extract and some other herbs that are said to help promote the thickness of the hair. Both of these are great. I just use them interchangeably, and I'll include links below. Just a tip for applying your dry shampoo is if you take it in sections like this and you just kind of squeeze it in like that, and then you use your fingers and you massage it in, and that gets it in there, and that helps it to absorb the oils without you getting white spots on your head. And then you can just do that all over. So you can just take sections, open it up, squirt, massage, and then just find your natural part. Another tip is to avoid sulfates in your shampoo. Sulfates are very damaging to the hair follicles, and some studies have shown that they can actually kill hair follicles, which sounds awful. So look for shampoos that are sulfate-free, that don't have sodium lauryl sulfate as an ingredient. Another tip for your hair, which I did, is I cut it. I used to have very long hair, and when you have long hair, not only does it sort of drag and make the roots a little bit heavier, but it also makes it just look a little bit more thin because of the extra weight. So if you have long hair and you're noticing it's thinning, chop it off. It feels amazing. It's very liberating, and it also gives you the option. And I have layers cut into my hair. And so the more layers you have, then the more movement and a little bit thicker it looks. On the same note, avoid very tight hairstyles. So if you wear your hair all the way back into a bun or a tight ponytail, or you wear braids, that can eventually over time strain the hair follicles and cause them to get damaged. And of course, makes sense, this one, which is avoid over curling, straightening, perming, or using color on your hair. They really strip the cuticle and they weaken the entire cuticle so that you have more and more breakage. And so it may be that your hair follicles are fine, but it's just that your hair keeps getting shorter and shorter because of the breaking. And the less things we can do to our hair, typically the better our hair is, because it's just less stressed. I will say there are other herbs out there that you might have heard when you're doing research. One is called Bring Raj, which is an Ayurvedic powder that's often used in hair oils. I have used this myself. It works. I mean, it's very nice. I've taken it as an internal supplement, and I've also used it as a hair oil. It's wonderful. I don't think there's anything wrong with using it. However, I personally really like to use Nettles as an internal and really focusing more on my internal environment. I like to use rosemary because I identify with the scent. I really like it's clean, fresh, and I can feel it invigorating the scalp. All right, well, there you have it. We've got our weekly practices. We've got something we can do, our hair teas for every other day. And then we have our daily essentials for keeping your hair and really your whole body strong and healthy and vital. I hope you found this content helpful. Please let me know in the comments section if there's anything that you do for your hair to keep it thick and full and healthy. Any tips, any herbs, anything you've tried, I'd love for you to share that with us. And again, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, or if you liked this content, please click the like button, click subscribe, and thank you. And I'll see you all in the next episode.